A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah asnza everyone for joining us here today at in our new program during Ramadan. Um, we are, as you know, holding a question and answer session with respected Murabi Sahib Mansoor Zia Sahib, who is a professor at Jama MDA UK, and as most of you would be aware, that he's also paneling the Fiqh Masail show on MTA, as he has also served for a long period of time in the Darul Ifta, where uh, religious edicts are given out based on the sources of Islam, which are the Holy Quran, the Ahadith, the sayings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as well as the sayings of the Promised Messiah and the Khulafa, of course. Um, so I'm very glad and humbled to welcome Mansoor Ahmad Zia Sahib. Assalamu alaikum and Jazakallah for joining us here today.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Jazakallah, Arif sir. Thank you very
So,
much for
um,
having me.
Jazakallah for being with us. So, as I introduced, that we today are going through some of the questions which usually arise during the month of Ramadan. And Mansoor Ahmad Zia Sahib, feel free to mix up with Urdu and English, as we have both listeners in Urdu and English. So, starting with the first question, which I have received beforehand in regards to Ramadan, is that there are some restrictions, of course, during the fast, and one of the questions came to this regard from Muhammadi Begum Khan, who asked that my question for is that can a female member of the house read in congregation whilst they are in a separate room and they can hear the imam?
Jazakallah. Rawadin sab, actually, if uh, if we look at the scenario, especially in the time when there is jalsa going on, it's so simple to understand. When in jalsa Hazur is leading prayer, and ladies marquee are apart from the men marquee, and ladies pray there separately, and there is a long distance between it. So, but still their prayer is counted. So just like this, the place is there, and Imam is in front of it, in front of the person. So if this fulfill the basic, you can say, condition of namaz, then definitely they can follow that imam, even if they are in the other room, and especially ladies, uh, because if they stand alone, their even then their namaz is all right, because there is a saying of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, and Hazrat Imam Bukhari anhu, he has made a special chapter saying that al mar'atu wahdaha takunu saffan, that a woman is alone, is a saf, is a row, because woman doesn't need anyone else to join her. So it means that anyone can any woman can stay where she is, and she can join the prayer and follow the imam. It doesn't matter.
Excellent. Jazakallah Mansoor Sahib for that.
Yeah.
That leads me to another question, which usually comes now because we are currently in the lockdown, and in regards to Friday prayer, where a lot of people have that misconception that or don't know whether they can pray at home they can observe the Juma prayer at home only with their wives, or does a third person have to be with them, or what are the rules in regards to that?
About Juma prayer. So simple thing is that I will quote an hadith, and that hadith would tell us that uh, how many people should be present for Juma prayer. You know, even today, Fiqh Hanafiya, Hanafi school of thought, and Maliki school of thought, they believe that at least um, there should be 40% to to perform Juma prayer. And they said that Juma prayer cannot be performed until and unless where you are performing Juma, that territory belongs to a Muslim ruler. If there is not a Muslim ruler, and if there is a Christian ruler or any other ruler, then you cannot perform Juma prayer. So, something, this is too much that people believe such and such things. And in the time of the Hazrat promised Messiah, Islam, it was the same thing because they thought that because the government is English, so we cannot perform Juma here. So what would they do? That as a precaution, after saying Juma, after saying their Juma prayer, they would also pray Zuhr prayer, and they'll believe that our both prayers, if Juma is rejected by Allah the Almighty, then the Zuhr will be accepted from Allah the Almighty. So the thing is that learn the simple rule that when there are two people, there can be jamaat, there can be a congregation prayer. Holy Prophet ﷺ said, "Isnani fama fawqahuma jama'atun," that two people make a congregational prayer.
Right.
So this is the simple rule that if in a house, in a home, two people can perform a Jamaat, so definitely Juma, that is also a congregational prayer, then definitely Juma can be performed also.
And does that also work if only one male member is at home and the other member is a female member? So, for instance, husband.
Yes, yes, that's a very good question. And recently, Hazur Ayyadullah Ta'ala bin Aziz, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih al Khamis Ayyadullah Ta'ala bin Aziz was asked the same question. And he said that when Hazrat Masih Maud Islam has given his verdict, why, how can I say that no, they can't? So Hazur said, Hazrat Masih Maud Islam has said, his wording is in Urdu, कि अगर मर्द अकेला हो तो वो अपनी बीवी को पीछे खड़ा करके तादाद पूरी कर ले.
Right.
That if a person is alone, then definitely he can ask his wife to join him, and in this way they can perform a congregational Juma prayer. So for us this is very easy because Hazur guidance is there, Khalifa guidance is there, so
Right.
that's easy for us.
Jazakallah Mansoor Sahab. So, coming up to the next question, someone asked that can one still do Vicks vapor steaming during the fast? Basically, keep a fast and still do inhale steam. And he mentioned, vaporizer, for instance.
Ramadhan, the thing is that we need to uh, know that why a person needs to take that inhaler as that Vicks inhaler or that Vicks, what we say, vapor. Why he needs? Is there a need arises? And if he is a sick person, then definitely he should not he should open his fast then if he
Right.
is in such a need of it to use this Vicks as a medicine. So if there is no need, then he should avoid it during Ramadan, during fasting, because there is a rule that whatever comes in, whatever go inside your body, it will break your fast. And that rule has been set by Hazrat Ibn Abbas anhu, who was the beloved companion of the Holy Prophet sallallahu. And Holy Prophet sallallahu said about him, that prayed about him, that Allahumma faqihu fi din, that oh God, give him the understanding of the faith, give him the understanding of the religion. And he was faqih, you can say.
Hmm.
So he concluded that everything that go out that doesn't break your fast, out of your body that doesn't break your fast, but whatever comes in, that is the thing that can break your fast. So we have a very simple rule. So according to this rule, if we are taking any medicine, it is basically going inside of us, so that will break our fast, and so we should avoid it. Some people may ask that whatever what happens that if smoke went into your lungs and into your body, then it is like a smoke. Some people can say that, but anything that you take deliberately, that that is what that break your fast. But whatever you eat or you drink, even without a proper intention, without deliberation, I mean, you don't eat it deliberately, then as hadith mentioned, that thing doesn't break your fast. So smoke it, you cannot take it deliberately, definitely. It is just an accident, you can say, or it happens. So in this, but this way, the medicine you are taking, the Vicks medicine you are taking deliberately, so definitely it will be, it can make your, it can break your fast.
Right. Does that rule also apply on eye drops and similar medicine?
Yes, yes, eye drops the same, because Hazrat Masih Maud once asked that a person want to use eye drops in his eyes. So Zur said, this is the wrong question, wrongly asked question,
Hmm.
because if a person's needed that medicine, definitely he should not fast, because, and if without that medicine he cannot survive, or it is very difficult for him, he should not uh, keep fast on that day. He can complete it on after Ramadan, whenever he finds occasion, whenever he find it easy for him. So the basic thing is that if a person need to take any medicine during the fast, then he should not fast.
Right. Excellent, Jazakallah. I think that makes it very, very clear. Coming up to the next question, someone asked before that I understand that one of the conditions for offering itikaf is for the mutakif to have observed all the fast in the month of Ramadan. Now, the question is that for those who are exempt from fasting permanently um, with health conditions, can they still perform itikaf?
Um, if we just ponder over it, that what is the word itikaf mean? Itikaf mean to isolate oneself from the world and worship Allah the Almighty. This is, you can say, the literal meaning of itikaf.
Hmm.
So, but there is also a terminology itikaf. You can say that terms itikaf in our religion is used, that a person can do itikaf, and that is called the masnoon itikaf. That itikaf only he can do when he is fasting. For example, Hazrat Aisha Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anha, there's a narration of Hazrat Aisha Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anha. She said that it is a sunnah, it is a practice of the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam,
Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
that during these 10 days of itikaf, you must fast. So the Masnoon itikaf will be considered the same thing, that you fast during those 10 days. But as I have said, that itikaf literal meaning is to isolate oneself from the world, and then worship Allah the Almighty. Also, this is also itikaf, and she will get the reward. And because she is not in a good health, or she cannot fast during that, due to her bad health, So, in that case, Allah the Almighty will give her the reward according to according to her intention, because it is a well known hadith, innamal amalu bin niyat, the deeds are judged by the motives. So, if she had that intention, that if Allah gives me the chance, give me the health, so I could have fast during these days. So definitely Allah Ta'ala will give her the reward for that, and her itikaf will be considered in the eyes of Allah the real itikaf. But as far as the situation according to, because we only can judge that what is in front of us. So in this situation we cannot say this is a masnoon itikaf, because as I have described, that the masnoon itikaf is the only itikaf that you do with the holding fast.
Right. Jazakallah. I have a couple of questions received just now. I'm just going to go by the chronological order. So, starting at the very beginning of the day, usually we wake up for Sehri, and or in the middle of the night, to observe our Tahajjud prayer. Now, of course, sometimes we wake up and we have just limited time. Um, is it better to observe 8 rakat quickly compared to a 2 or 4 rakat slowly with full attention and giving it its full time?
Yes, actually, this is also a misconception that some people believe that namaz tahajjud is 8 rakat, and some people believe that it should be the 11 if we include witr also. So, actually, the thing is that Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did these 8 rakat, or and including witr 11 rakat. It is the maximum number of tahajjud rakat that you can perform. But as far as you can say that it is concerned, that what is the minimum requirement? So minimum requirement is two. So Hazrat Masih Maud also has said that if you couldn't find time, then do the minimum requirement, that is the 2 rakat. So in this case, in this scenario, as you have said, that if a person find that the time is very short time, he should not perform 8 rakat. He should perform rather than this. He should perform 2 rakat, but with full intention, and with the full. It should be a quality prayer
Right.
that a person is definitely concentrating during his prayer, not just like
Well,
उर्दू में कहते हैं ना कि
yeah.
वो सिर्फ नमाज ऐसी ना हो कि टकरे मारने वाली नमाज हो. So
Jazakallah. Excellent. Excellent. So, now after the tahajjud prayer, it's time for seri, and this question often comes, I think, every Ramzan. When till when can you actually eat? Is it the time of azan? Can you eat even after azan? Is it the time of fajr, when the prayer starts? Etc. What is the exact timing when you should stop eating for seri?
uh, in the Holy Quran, it is mentioned clearly that when can you eat and stop eating. Holy Quran says when the light of the dawn appears, and light from the east appears on the horizon, then you should stop eating. So that is, you can say, that is a sign that can be observed by everyone wherever he is. So Allah Ta'ala did not make it complicated. The light from the east, whenever it is visible, you can stop eating. So this is a clear sign for all of us that this is the instruction from the Holy Quran. And the word yatabayyana lakum, Quran used the word yatabayyana lakum, that it is very much significance for you, that it appears as if that you're watching it. So it means that there is some you can say uh, some relaxation in it.
Hmm.
So I will just quote an hadith that Hazrat Bilal, in the time of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, there used to be two azan. One azan Hazrat Bilal Raziyallahu Ta'ala used to call to prayer. So Holy Prophet ﷺ said that when Bilal Raziyallahu Ta'ala anhu, when Bilal called to prayer, do not stop eating. Uh, Continue your eating. But when Abdullah bin Maktoum and he says azan, so you should stop eating. And in hadith it is mentioned that Abdullah ibn Maktoum, he was a blind person and he couldn't see the sign, clear sign. And people would tell him that Abdullah, now it is the time, you can go and say prayer. And people would tell him, and people, when all people would go to him, and then he will go and call to prayer, uh, then he will give azan at that time. So it means that this hadith tells us that there is a little bit relaxation also, and there is another hadith that also tells the same, that talks about the same relaxation. Holy Prophet ﷺ said that when a person has started his meal during the azan, during that time of you can say during the time of sehri, or what the time is appointed for the fast. If he has started during that time, so he can continue his meal, or his whatever he is eating, his sehri, until he completed his full meal. So this also tells us that there is some kind of relaxation, and we can get benefit from that. But there is also, and you can say that some people, they just don't care about sehri. They just don't care about that the signs, or this clear sign, and they continue eating after it. So there should be a balance between it, not to the extent that a person would eat when the sun is, very clearly,
Yeah,
dawn is very clear, and there should be a
a
balance between
balance.
it.
Jazakallah. Thank you. Now, after that, when the time for prayer is there, now I'm combining two, three questions here. And this is in regards to the prayer in congregation observed at home.
Yeah.
Now, is there a set order in the congregation behind the imam? For instance, if there are women and men, male and female members of the family, and who will say the takbir if both male and female are there, and if only female members are there? Is there any restriction to that? If you can, elaborate on that.
If all the people that who are at home, present at home, they are praying, and the woman is mahram. So in that scenario, although we do not promote it, that ladies should say takbir, because we could not find even a single example. Holy Prophet ﷺ has sometime, it is that he had performed nafal prayer in his own home, although there is not needed to that ikamat is not needed and azan is not needed. But we cannot find even a single example that Holy Prophet ﷺ had ever called any woman that she should say azan or she should say ikamat. So first of all, we need to understand that point. And he also mentioned, it is also mentioned in hadith, that laisa ala nisai azanun wala iqamatun, that azan and iqamat is not obligatory upon women, and they should not say here when there are men. But you can say there is a kind of relaxation also, again, that if a woman is mahram, and she want to say azan or ikama, she want to say ikamat, then we can say that okay, it's okay for her. If she say that, the namaz would be all right. It is, there's no problem in it. But still, we can find the example from the Holy Prophet ﷺ that once he was alone, he led the prayer, but he called to prayer himself. He called to Ikama himself. I mean, he 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 said Ikamat and Azan himself. So this tells us that if only man is there and there are women, so they can follow the example of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, that they can
Yeah.
call Azan themselves, and the same person can call Azan himself, and same person can lead the prayer, and same person can lead the iqamat, same can call the iqamat. So there's no restriction between it. So it is, you can say at the end, it is not very much promoted by the by our by hadith, by sunnah, that ladies
That
should
is
say
very
iqamat.
clear. What about the order in which the congregation stands behind the imam? If there are female members and male members, and if there are only, um, if there are elders, where do they stand? Some people believe that they have to stand on the right of the imam. So, what is the order, if you can briefly explain?
Actually, there are different scenario. For example, if one person is leading, he is imam, and only there is a one muqtadi, one follower, and that one muqtadi or one follower is a man, or you can say he's a male member. So he should, the follower should stay at the right hand side of imam in this scenario. And the other scenario is that there are two-person, two male members. In that case, imam should go forward and they should stay behind in a row. They would make a row. And there's a third scenario that imam and the follower is only one lady. Woman is the follower, muqtadi. In that case, woman should stay behind in a row, and man should stand, or I mean, the imam should stand in front of her, leading the prayer.
Hmm.
And there is another scenario that if there are children and male members who are adult, I mean, grown up male members and children, and then ladies. So in that case, uh, whatever, if your place is like, there's a congestion, you can say, then in that case, um, male members, grown up male members should come behind imam, and then children should come behind those who are grown up male members, that row, and then ladies or women should come behind the row of children. So this should be the, you can say that,
The set order for prayer.
yeah, the order.
Jazakumullah Hasan. Now coming to the next question, and this question, some people feel embarrassed to ask, but it often happens that when we have the intention, the niyat of observing the fast the next morning, but we oversleep, we don't wake up for Fajr, we don't wake up for the Seri. What do we do in that scenario?
Um, yeah, you mentioned it, that this scenario is a little bit embarrassing, but anyhow, in that scenario, Islam also says that if it happens, so in that case, um, you have two options. One option is that if you feel strong enough that without food and water you can complete your fast until sunset, then then it would be appreciated and your fast will be counted. But if you don't find the courage, and if you don't find, you can say, that if you think you are weak and you won't be able to complete it, then definitely you should leave that day, the fast of that day, fasting of that day, and complete some other day. And if possible, although it is not compulsory, if possible, you should also give fidya, expiation. You should expiate yourself if possible, but it is not compulsory, because the expiation will give you, will make enable you to complete your fast, and you will be able to benefit from it also, because the Masih said that expiation is just to enable you to fast after month of Ramadan.
Right. And there's a myth or misconception rather that when you wake up and you're late for seri and you've missed the fajr time, you can quickly drink a few sips of water before starting your fast. Is there any truth to that?
Sorry, couldn't get you.
So if you wake up late,
Yes.
that you can take a few sips of water before starting your fast. Is there any truth to that, or is that
Now, if the time has passed, if the time has passed, not at all, you are not allowed. There are only two options, whether to leave that or whether to complete it without having any sip of water, without having any food, any morsel of food. No, you can't do
uh,
that, because it will not be considered a fast actually.
or
If someone has done it, definitely he should be aware that his fast is not counted.
okay? So we after starting our fast, we go out for work and we think that, or generally by starting our day we brush our teeth. Can we brush our teeth? Can we brush it with toothpaste, or do we have to leave out toothpaste? What is the rule?
Yes, that's question. It's also asked many times, and people just wanted to know about that. That can they brush their teeth or not? So the simple thing is, when we look at the time of the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam,
Sallas.
so companions reported that Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to brush his teeth with uh, with the miswak during his fast during Ramadan, and he would do it many times in a day, maybe 5 times a day. So if we can, if Holy Prophet System used to do miswak, and miswak, if I can explain it, that what the word miswak means. Miswak is actually, how would you say that, Raudin Sab?
It's
Miswak is actually,
it is a twig from
um,
a tree, which is
yes,
used to a branch.
it is a twig of a
Yeah,
tree, a branch of a tree, and that branch of a tree, it has special, a taste also. It is, sometimes it has some juice, you can say juicy thing also, some,
yeah.
you know, essence in it. So Holy Prophet Sallallahu used to do it both ways. That when it is, I mean, in that he used to do it, and that has some taste. Some people say that anything that has a taste, for example, toothpaste, it has a taste, definitely. So people say that if it has a taste, you can't do it. But if we look at the example of the Holy Prophet, it tells us that he used to use that twig, and that twig was definitely had the taste. So it proves that we can do miswak during our fasting period. But I recently, Huzur said about that. Also, Huzur said that although we should avoid it, because Huzur said my practice is that I do it in the morning and in the evening. I made it for twice a day,
Hmm.
and if I needed to brush my teeth during my fast, so I don't use toothpaste. So it is simple that if a person can do this practice also, both practices are, you know uh, any person who can do these both things is okay for him.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter.
Jazakallah. Jazakallah. Um, we just received another question from Sabahatullah. He says that what's the wisdom in not letting the lady to lead the prayer, do takbir or azan, even within their own house?
Even, sorry?
Even within their own house, if only the
Yeah.
lady is there, what's the wisdom? Why can she not lead the prayer or do takbir or even give azan
Mhm.
within the four walls?
Actually, the basic thing is, Arjun sir, that this prayer or any prayer is not compulsory on women in congregation. Some people think that congregational prayer is compulsory for women. No, they should remember that Holy Prophet ﷺ, has only made it compulsory for men, and it is also not compulsory for children who are not mature.
Hmm.
So we need to remember that. We need to keep it in mind. So sometimes, for example, women when they are in their menstrual cycle, so they do not pray. So what happened in a house, just to save women from embarrassment? For example, if there is a time for prayer and in a house there are sisters, brothers, and husband and wife, so sometimes a brother would ask, why she is not praying, my sister is not praying. So it would be a little bit embarrassing for the sister. So you can say that Islam wants the ladies to avoid that embarrassment,
Hmm.
and Islam says that they have some privacy. They need to take care of that privacy. So why the prayer is not compulsory. The congregational prayer is not compulsory for them, and appearing in during that prayer, it is not compulsory for them. So just make them understand in you can say to depict that picture. That's why it has not been necessary for the ladies to say ikamat or to say azan or to
Right.
lead prayer, because there would be some time that they cannot lead prayer, and there would be some time that they cannot come to prayer even. So just to protect their privacy, Islam has not made it compulsory for them to be present in congregation prayer.
Very clear. Jazakallah, Ziasa, for that. There's a leading question on that topic. What about if there's only ladies in the house and no men is available for imamat? What happens in that scenario? Can ladies just among themselves observe prayer in congregation?
Oh yes, this has been the practice. This practice has been proven by the time of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. Hazrat Aisha Raziyallahu Ta'ala anha, she said that sometimes she would lead the prayer to ladies, and but here a thing that usually imams stand in front of a row. But in that case, when the lady or a woman is leading the prayer, she should not stay in front of the row. She should stay in the row and middle of the row. So this is the only scenario. Yes, they can lead it. They can be an imam, but only for ladies. If even one man is there, no, then they cannot lead them in prayer.
Right. Now, in regards to the Holy Quran and its recitation, of course, the blessed month of Ramadan is where the Holy Quran was revealed, and we are told to recite the Holy Quran more than usual. But now the question arises that should I should my aim be to complete a whole cycle of the Holy Quran, reciting the whole of the Quran during the month of Ramadan? Or is it better to recite a couple of chapters and then read the translation and also its exegesis, the tafsir of those chapters?
If we follow the practice of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so we come to know that Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to revise and used to finish, you can say, the whole Quran, what has been revealed in the Ramadan. So if we follow that sunnah, so we should at least follow this footstep that we need to complete that one cycle of the Holy Quran, or you can say one एक दौर होली कुरान करीम का एक दौर मुकम्मल करना चाहिए. We should complete it. So uh, although it is better to read the exegesis, it is better to read the translation, and definitely we should do that. But we had the time for that during the whole year. So during the whole year, we can read the Holy Quran and exegesis, but at least we should try to follow the Sunnah of the Holy Prophet that once in Ramadan we should recite the Holy Quran as a whole. So it is better to do it as a whole, to just to follow the Sunnah of the Holy Prophet.
Jazakallah. Now, another question is um, again in regards to the prayer. Can the Imam lead the prayer if he's not able to stand? So, for instance, use a chair or while sitting down. And does the congregation also have to sit down, or can they be standing up while observing the prayer?
Yeah. Um, I just remember a narration of the Holy Prophet Sallallahu. Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam fell from a horse and he was just injured. And he started leading the prayer. And because he couldn't stand at that time, he was just sitting. He was leading the prayer, but he was sitting down. So when he saw the people, they were standing behind him. So Holy Prophet ﷺ said at that time in the beginning that whenever Imam is leading the prayer sitting, so you should also sit. You should also follow the Imam. But it was in the beginning. The last narration we have is that whenever Imam is sitting, Holy Prophet ﷺ, when he was in his during his last last illness, he used to come to the mosque and he used to lead that prayer while sitting. During that, he would always lead the prayer, but he would say he would tell the people, no, you cannot sit now. You can follow me, um, follow what I'm doing, but you cannot pray during this while you are sitting. So you have to stand because you've got no injury. It is me who is injured. So this hadith tells us or tells us that the Imam can lead the prayer while sitting, but he was the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and people would love to follow him. But if there is an Imam in the house that who is not disabled, who can perform all the actions during the salah, during the namaz, then we should make only that person Imam who can do all the steps of the salah correctly and without any disability. So we should make that person an Imam. Although if we made an Imam that who is disabled, the prayers would be accepted, but most likely we should try to find the person who is in good health and okay.
Right. Another question is it necessary to open the fast with dates?
Um, Actually, in the time of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, you can say that date was a staple food, or it was very popular
Hmm.
food in Medina. So Holy Prophet ﷺ has said that you should open your fast with date. But as I have mentioned that it was a staple food, So sometimes Holy Prophet would open his fast with water. Sometime he would open his fast with milk. So it doesn't matter basically that whatever food you are opening with, but the basic thing is most likely or mostly Holy Prophet ﷺ used to open with the date. So the people follow that sunnah that because this is the action that done by Holy Prophet ﷺ in abundant and many times. So we can follow that, and it has also nutrients in it and a lot of minerals and lot of you can say uh, क्या कहते हैं उसको
The
गजाइयत जो होती
vitamins
है
and well, there's a lot of healthy benefit to
healthy, yeah, a lot of healthy benefits. So we can open fast with that. But if a person couldn't find that, so it is also proved by the Holy Prophet ﷺ actions and sunnah that he used to open his fast with milk also, with water also. So all other things are allowed.
Another question is that if children shouldn't fast, at what age should they start keeping a few full length rosas? So, or should they only start fasting from the age of 18?
Actually, um, there are some worships that can their time is very early. For example, for salat, for namaz, Holy Prophet said that when your child reaches the age of 7, ask him to pray and teach him how to pray. But whenever he is 10, you should even you have the you can just scold him also. You can ask him a little bit. You can say a little bit harshly that you should pray now.
Hmm.
So this is a narration that tells us that this is the time or this is a maturity for salah. Needed 10 year is a maturity needed for salah. But this maturity is not needed for Ramadan, for Rosa, for fasting because fasting because the person is getting all the food just he's storing that energy for he's growing up, so during that age 14 to 15 they should not keep fast all of I mean during that time, during that age. But the thing is that whenever they reach 14 or 15, they should start fasting, for example, 14 fast or 15 fast or 20 fast. They should start practicing. And when they reach the age of 18, they should not leave even one rosa or one fast because children need to practice from 14 to 15 and they should continue their practice until they are 18. But when they are 18, uh, they should not even leave one fast,
One fast out.
and you can say that it is compulsory for them when they're 18.
Absolutely. Now, the next question is in regards to the Eid prayer, which will inshallah commence after the completion of the month of Ramadan. But because we are currently going through a lockdown, um, of course, we are going to observe the Eid prayers at home. Is there um, any narration that the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for instance, observe the Eid prayer at home, or do we find any reference from the Khulafa or the Promised Messiah salam, that the Eid prayer was performed at home?
Usually, Eid prayer is always performed in Eidgah in a big mosque or in a big place where all people can gather and everyone, whole city where can gather and Imam would lead the prayer. Usually, Eid prayer is regarding all the people who can gather. But we can find some references. For example, that Hazrat Anas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he was the companion of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he was the person who used to serve Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam for 10 whole years. and he observed Holy Prophet very nearly, very closely, and he it was his practice that, for example, sometimes he would miss namaz Eid, Salat Eid, with the Imam. So he would gather his children, and he would follow, he would lead himself in his own home namaz Eid. So this narration you can say that it can provide us a proof that namaz Eid could be offered in home also. So, but as I have discussed that these are the special circumstances, we do not believe that namaz Eid should be offered at home even in normal days. No, in the normal days it should not be done like this. But in this scenario, when people are staying at home, staying in isolation, and during that, if mosques there are not no namaz Eid in mosque, then according to this narration, yes, we can offer namaz Eid in our own home.
Jazakumullah Asanaza. Mansoor Jasab, it's been an excellent session, and I thank you very much, Jazakumullah Asanaza, for joining. And so many people have enjoyed this session, and I'm sure many people will rewatch as there are so many common questions which are usually asked. So, Jazakallah for joining us. Jazakumullah from I received a message from our regional Misa, Mubashir Siddiqui Saab, saying Jazakallah to you for
Jazak-
joining us today. For
Jazakallah.
everyone who joined us today, Jazakumullah for coming on and listening to our respected guests and also asking your questions. I hope you enjoyed today's session. I'm receiving so many comments that of gratitude, Jazakallah, that it was a great and excellent event. Jazakallah Mansoor Sahab, and
Jazakallah is
everyone,
also okay.
remember us all in your prayers, and all of you who are at home right now currently, please remember myself and Mansoor Zasab also in your prayers, and especially during this blessed month of Ramadan. Jazakumullah Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Right.